Revealed, the incredible journey of Ishmael, the rejected son, transformed by God's divine voice. In the days of Abraham, when Jehoiakim reigned in Judah, there lived a man of great faith, called to be the father of many nations. Amidst the arid landscape of Canaan, where the sun scorched the earth and hopes dwindled like the dust on the wind, Sarai, the wife of Abraham, carried the burden of barrenness. With every passing year, her heart grew heavy with the ache of silence. The promise of offspring echoed relentlessly in her mind. In her desperation, she resorted to a scheme that would alter the course of their lives. She offered her Egyptian maidservant, Hagar, to Abraham, believing that through Hagar, God's promise would be fulfilled. Their union birthed Ishmael, a boy woven with strands of hope, yet overshadowed by rivalry and rejection. Hagar, who had once been mere property, now held the title of mother to Abraham's firstborn. But such joy was short-lived. The seed of jealousy sprouted within Sarai's heart. Hagar, now arrogant from her perceived favor, incurred Sarai's wrath. The tension in the home reached a boiling point, leading Hagar to flee into the wilderness, a solitary figure lost among the vast expanse of unforgiving sand. Alone and terrified, Hagar stumbled upon a spring of water, her heart crying out for relief. And in that divine moment, an angel of the Lord approached her, filled with authority and compassion. "Hagar, where have you come from, and where are you going?" Genesis 16 verse 8. His words pierced the silence like a beacon in the night. The angel revealed the significant destiny awaiting her son. He would grow into a man of strength and hardship, destined to live in conflict with his brothers, yet he would be the father of a great nation. As Hagar stood by the well, a revelation dawned upon her. She named the place Bir Lahai-Roi, meaning well of the living one who sees me. In that moment of despair, she felt the embrace of God's presence, assuring her that she was seen and heard. With renewed strength, Hagar returned to Abraham and Sarai, her heart settled by the knowledge that the God of all creation regarded her plight. Ishmael grew under the watchful eyes of divine promise, but the years turned, and the unforeseen arrival of Isaac shifted the dynamics of their household. The laughter that erupted upon Isaac's birth rang triumphantly within Abraham's tent, yet for Sarai, it thrummed with jealousy and dread. The air, thick with unspoken conflict, led Sarai to demand that Ishmael and Hagar be cast out, fearing that this once beloved boy would inherit alongside her. And in the depth of despair, Hagar and Ishmael wandered, grappling with thirst and uncertainty in the relentless desert. Innocent cries for help pierced the stillness, echoing across the desolate sands, reaching the ears of the one who hears all cries. In that bleak moment, God opened Hagar's eyes, unveiling a well of water to quench their thirst. "Fear not, for God has heard the voice of the boy." Genesis 21 verse 17. The water not only revived their bodies but fortified their spirits, a testament to God's unwavering promise. Before we continue with this incredible biblical account, I want to make sure you don't miss any of these powerful scripture stories. Click the bell icon and select all notifications. These biblical narratives have transformed countless lives throughout history. If God's word through this story is blessing you, please like and share with someone who needs to hear about God's faithfulness today. Tell me in the comments, which biblical story has most impacted your faith journey? I'm always amazed how God's word speaks to hearts across generations. Now let's continue with what the Lord did next as Ishmael begins to unravel the mysterious call of his life in the shadow of his brother, a boy marked as both promise and conflict, standing on the precipice of destiny. What awaits them beyond the horizon? How will the voice of God guide their steps into an uncertain future, where the divine plan unfolds amidst the struggles and promises written in the very fabric of their existence? The night settled over the desert, thick with anticipation as Ishmael's journey toward his identity began to illuminate the path of divine revelation. As the dawn broke over the barren expanse of the wilderness, a gentle light illuminated the landscape, casting long shadows over the sand. Ishmael, now a young lad, pressed onward with Hagar. The struggles of the past felt like distant memories, though the echo of rejection lingered in their hearts. God had shown them mercy, but the road ahead was still fraught with uncertainty. Days turned into weeks. Ishmael grew strong, both in spirit and body. He learned to hunt and to gather sustenance from the land, guided by the hands of his mother whose love was both fierce and tender. Yet, amid their daily labors, the weight of their existence, the legacy of being cast out, remained an unspoken cloud hanging over them. Hagar often recalled the words of the angel who spoke of her son's future, a future entwined with strife and greatness. One day, while under the shade of a solitary tree, Hagar sensed a stirring within her. "O God, what is to become of us? She prayed, her voice trembling with desperation. Suddenly, the stillness was pierced by a familiar whisper, echoing in her heart. Hagar, I have not forgotten you. Meanwhile, far from the wilderness, in the tents of Abraham, a heartwarming celebration was underway for Isaac as he grew and began to find his place among his kin. Abraham watched with pride as Isaac played, yet deep within him was a sense of longing and sadness for Ishmael, the child of his first love. Shall we forget the boy? Abraham pondered, wrestling with the painful decision made at Sarai's behest. That night, as the stars twinkled overhead, God spoke to Abraham, saying, "Listen to the voice of your wife, for through Isaac shall your descendants be named. But do not fear for Ishmael, I shall make of him a great nation." Abraham arose early, filled with trepidation and resolute faith. He prepared provisions, a skin of water and some bread to send with Hagar and Ishmael, knowing he would not see them again. Holding them close, he blessed them and sent them forth into the wilderness once more. As Hagar and Ishmael trekked through the desolation, the provisions dwindled. The sun bore down mercilessly upon them, and soon hope began to fade as their water ran out. In utter anguish, Ishmael cried out, "Mother, I am thirsty." Hagar, desperate to shield her son from despair, could no longer muster the strength to encourage him. She placed him under a shrub, then stepped away a bowshot's distance, for she could not bear to watch him perish in the heat of the day. "Let me not see the death of the boy." She wept bitterly, collapsing to the ground. Yet, even in the very depths of her anguish, a voice broke the silence again, for God had not abandoned them. "Fear not, Hagar, for God has heard the voice of the boy where he lies." Genesis 21 verse 17. In that miraculous moment, God opened her eyes anew, revealing not far off a well of water, bubbling forth from the earth, a divine provision amidst their desperation. Filled with joy, Hagar rushed to Ishmael, and together they drank deeply from the life-giving spring. The years passed, and Ishmael was raised in the wilderness of Paran. God was with him as he grew, and he became a skilled archer, renowned for his strength and skill. He settled in the land and fathered a multitude of tribes, each one a testimony to God's promises, fulfilling the words spoken by the angel long ago. What lay before them, hidden in God's design, was still yet to be fully revealed. For from the roots of the promised family would come another son, a son whose story would eclipse all others, one destined to bridge the chasm between the beloved Isaac and the wild, beautiful legacy of Ishmael. As the winds whispered through the desert, they carried with them the seeds of an unfolding destiny. Would the fabric of their lives, woven in rejection, unite again in divine purpose? Thus, the grand tapestry of God's plan began to unfurl, beckoning hearts to witness the alignment of His sovereign will in an incomprehensible journey. As the sun set beyond the distant horizon, casting fiery hues across the sky, Hagar stood beside Ishmael, who had grown into a strong young man, full of vigor and determination. The desert was no longer a barren wasteland to them, it was a land teeming with God's provisions and untold promises. Yet, the days to come were heavy with the weight of uncertainty. "Mother," Ishmael spoke, breaking the silence, "the echoes of my past are but whispers now, yet I sense a stirring in my heart, a longing for purpose beyond mere survival." Hagar gazed into his eyes, remembering the promises given to her so long ago. "The Lord has a purpose for you, my son, God is faithful to His word." With the setting sun, Hagar felt that same whispering voice from years ago, and she knelt down in prayer, seeking God's guidance anew. "O Lord, show us the way," she pleaded, her heart open to His will. In her spirit, she heard Him say, "Your son shall be a father of many nations." The legacy of his life will echo through generations. As Ishmael continued to hone his skills as an archer, his thoughts often wandered to Isaac, the brother he had scarcely known. Not given the chance to form a bond, he felt an ache of longing mixed with curiosity. His heart was torn between what was familiar and a desire for connection. How could two sons of Abraham, birthed under such different circumstances, find a common thread? It was during one fateful evening, while in contemplation, that a band of travelers appeared on the horizon. They came from a land beyond, seeking respite in this arid wilderness. Recognizing the need for hospitality, Ishmael approached them with caution, for strangers could bring both danger and opportunity. "Who are you?" he called out as the travelers drew near. Their leader stepped forward, wearied but with eyes ablaze, speaking words laden with a distant command. "We are Ishmaelites, blessed and proud descendants of a great heritage. At the mention of his name, Ishmael's heart stirred. He felt a connection deep within him. His lineage had become a bridge across the vast people of the desert. "What brings you to this desolate place?" he inquired. "We seek allies in our quest to reclaim our lands, once promised to our forefathers," replied the leader. "We believe you, too, carry the blessings of your mother's people." A fire ignited within Ishmael, and he felt God's calling to unite his legacy with theirs. Hagar watched as her son engaged the travelers, her heart swelling with pride and apprehension. "This unfolds the promise," she whispered to herself. "A multitude will rise from him." As they sat beneath the stars, sharing tales of their ancestors, Ishmael's heart grew ever more attuned to the greatness envisioned for his future. Could my own actions pave the way for reconciliation? He contemplated as he felt the stirring of divine hope that night. As Ishmael lay beneath the vast celestial canopy, God spoke again, this time more clearly. "Ishmael, I am calling you to lead not as one cast out, but as one chosen. Your story will interlace with the tapestry of my covenant." Thus, the path began to unfurl, a journey intertwined with destiny, beckoning Ishmael towards the unknown. But the realities of past divisions lingered, and as dawn approached, filled with both promise and uncertainty, the lingering question surfaced once more: what truly lay ahead for the rejected son, and how would his life intertwine with that of Isaac, bringing glory to the God who sees all? The tapestry was not yet complete, and the hearts of many awaited a divine revelation. As the first light of dawn broke over the horizon, painting the sky with soft hues of pink and gold, Ishmael stirred from his sleep, the promise of God echoing in his mind. His heart quickened at the thought of destiny unfolding before him. The travelers, whose arrival had inspired him, were already rising with the sun, preparing for the journey ahead. "Awake, Ishmael!" called the leader of the Ishmaelites, his voice projecting authority and camaraderie. "Today we embark upon a quest of great significance. Your spirit is aflame with purpose, and we have come to seek your counsel." Ishmael rose, his legs firm beneath him, unwavering in the face of the future. "What are your desires, brothers?" he asked, sensing the weight of their expectations. He sought to grasp their vision fully, to intertwine it with the calling he felt blooming in his heart. "Our ancestors have been silent for too long, and the promises made to our fathers were left dormant," the leader replied, his voice filled with fervor. "We must reclaim our heritage and step into the lands destined for us, just as our father Abraham once did." As they gathered around the dying embers of the fire, the Israelites spoke of battles fought in the names of justice and peace, of the lands they had once traversed freely. Ishmael listened intently, his mind racing with thoughts of Isaac, whom he had only glimpsed in the shadows of distant memories. What would it mean for me to reclaim that which was set aside? He pondered. The longing for connection grew within him, a bridge between two paths forged in divergent fates. "Will you join us, Ishmael?" the leader asked, piercing through his thoughts. "Together we can reshape our present and future." A silence enveloped them as Hagar, who had remained quietly observant, finally spoke, her voice carrying both caution and courage. "What course you take could alter the destinies of many. Seek the Lord for direction, do not step forward without his guidance." Her words, grounded in wisdom, imposed a sacred pause, compelling all to reflect. Kneeling in the soft sands, Ishmael prayed fervently. "O Lord, guide my steps. Am I to take this mantle upon my shoulders? Is my call to lead united with these men of my blood?" As daylight birthed warmth across the land, Ishmael felt a profound certainty, a calling rippling through his very essence. The voice of God resounded in his soul, a majestic force that demanded both reverence and obedience. "Indeed, you shall lead a great multitude, but first, you shall reconcile the hearts that divide. Your destiny is intertwined with Isaac's, in your unity, many shall find their hope." Ishmael rose with renewed strength, and fire ignited in his gaze. "Then I will not run from my past, instead, I shall embrace it as part of a greater plan. Together we will reclaim what is rightfully ours, but I shall seek my brother as well." The travelers looked upon him, hope blooming in their hearts as reverence filled the air around them. The desert winds carried their collective breath, and they felt the sacredness of newfound unity surging within them. As they journeyed forth, following the call birthed in prayer, Ishmael turned to the eastern desert, where he envisioned Isaac, dwelling under the blessings of their father. With each step, he felt the weight of the promise upon him, a call shaping not only his destiny but the unfolding of divine restoration. But beneath the sun's rising glory, a question remained: would Isaac accept his offer of reconciliation, or would the chasm of the past thwart God's sovereign plan? The horizon beckoned with a mystery yet to be unveiled, an entwining of destinies that lay still, waiting for the faithful to seek his purpose. As the sun climbed higher, casting its warm rays over the rugged landscape, Ishmael and the Ishmaelites journeyed onward, their hearts alight with hope and uncertainty. Each step took them further from the shadows of the past, yet closer to the promise of reconciliation. "Where do we find our brother?" an Ishmaelite inquired, glancing at Ishmael with a mixture of admiration and concern. "What if he has forgotten us, or worse, rejected the call to unity?" Ishmael paused, a moment of contemplation washing over him. "Fear not, for the Lord has not forsaken us. His promise is a light unto our path." His voice, though steady, revealed the turmoil within. He recalled the anguish of separation and the bitter taste of neglect. Yet, a deeper truth resonated within: the covenant made with Abraham was not just for Isaac, but for him as well. "We shall seek him in the land of Canaan, where our father dwelt," he declared, fortifying their resolve. "There, beneath the ancient oaks of Mamre, may our forebears' spirit guide us." With spirits emboldened, they crossed vast sands and stony hills, the terrain a reflection of the challenges ahead, difficult yet rewarding. The gathering dusk painted the sky in vibrant colors, as if the heavens themselves mirrored the emotional tapestry they wove through shared hopes and fears. As night enveloped them, they reached a small brook, its waters glistening under the moonlight. Ishmael knelt to drink, feeling the coolness refresh his weary body. But as he lowered himself, a quiet voice stirred in the stillness. "Remember your father's ways." He sought the Lord at the brook of Beersheba, and it was there he found assurance. The words lingered, profoundly impactful. A surge of determination coursed through Ishmael. "Let us not linger here, but rather seek the place where God met our family before." Together, they turned their faces toward Canaan, hearts united in purpose. Days turned to weeks as they traversed the fertile valleys and highlands of the ancient land. Time molded their unity, concerns began to dissipate, replaced with a collective yearning for the next chapter of their story. At last, as twilight descended one fateful evening, they caught sight of a caravan approaching. The unmistakable banners of Isaac's family billowed in the breeze. The air thickened with anticipation, and Ishmael's heart raced. "Brothers, prepare yourselves," he instructed, his voice a mix of authority and vulnerability. "We must approach with humility, for the past weighs heavily between us. Let our hearts reflect the reconciliation sought by God." As they moved closer, Ishmael's eyes locked on a figure emerging from the caravan: Isaac, adorned in the garments of a son, a leader among his people. Pain and joy intertwined within Ishmael, familiarity seemed their features, but estrangement marred the bond of brotherhood. "Who goes there?" Isaac called, the sound of his voice ringing like a bell, crisp and ringing in the evening air. With a deep breath, Ishmael stepped forward. "It is I, Ishmael, son of Abraham and Hagar. I come seeking reconciliation, for the Lord has stirred my heart and calls us to mend what was broken." Isaac fell silent, a cloud of emotions hidden within his gaze. Ishmael's heart pounded, hoping for acceptance, praying against the fears anchoring his spirit. In that defining moment, God's hand moved unseen, either towards peace or further division, and the fates of two brothers hinged on their willingness to forgive. As the night wore on, beneath the blanket of stars, a battle of the spirit unfurled. Unbeknownst to both brothers, God's plan was already in motion, weaving together threads of legacy far beyond their understanding, a promise yet to be revealed in its fullness, for the tapestry of their destinies was bound with divine threads of grace and redemption. As the moon cast its silver glow upon the gathering, tension hung in the air, heavy with unspoken words. Ishmael stood before Isaac, a man marked by the weight of their shared history and the wounds of separation. "Brother, though we have walked different paths, the hand of the Lord is upon us both," he declared, his voice steady despite the tempest within. Isaac, taken aback by the words of his brother, felt a tumult of emotions. Memories of the past flooded his heart, dull aches of jealousy and abandonment intertwined with the tender love of kinship. "Why have you come, Ishmael?" he asked, his voice laced with caution. "The past is a river that cannot be turned back." Ishmael, sensing the sting beneath Isaac's words, said, "Indeed, the past is but a shadow, yet the future is a promise. The Lord has called me to seek reconciliation." will you not hear me? He took a step forward, heartache and hope intertwining in his plea. Isaac, reflecting, felt conviction stir within him. I have long held bitterness, and yet the promise of our Father looms large. What do you propose? His watchful eyes searched Ishmael's for sincerity. A feast of our reunion, a testament of unity. Let us dine together as brothers, the past settling to rest beneath the tapestry of grace that God weaves for our family, Ishmael replied, the fervor of his purpose emanating from his spirit. A mixture of surprise and hope flickered in Isaac's eyes. So be it, he responded slowly. But know this, the family of Sarah has not forgotten the way of the covenant. As they recounted ancestral stories, the tent was filled with the aroma of roasted lamb, seasoned grains, and rich wine, symbols of blessings both lost and found. The laughter of their children echoed, unwittingly binding together the fates of the two lineages once torn. As night deepened, and flames crackled, a silence fell upon them, holding weighty truth. Ishmael, moved by the Spirit, lifted his gaze to heaven. As our father Abraham believed, I too shall speak of faith. God of our Father, hear my cry for unity. Take these weary hearts and mend what has been marred. For what is a house divided? The air thickened, charged with the presence of the Almighty. Isaac, drawn by the depth of Ishmael's sincerity, felt the walls around his heart begin to tremble. Let us implore the Lord to mend our spirits, he echoed, his voice now imbued with passion. With bowed heads, together they sought the Lord, their voices rose like incense unto heaven. O great God of Abraham, hear the cry of our hearts. They cried in unison, on the brink of a new covenant forged in humility and grace. As dawn approached, a gentle wind swept across the land, an unseen presence embracing the brothers, each breath filled with the promise of healing. Unbeknownst to them, the ground upon which they stood was wholly a crossroads in the divine narrative unfolding across generations. With God listening intently, the threads of their legacy intertwined. As the day broke, the golden rays unveiled a breathtaking reality. Two brothers, once apart, now drawn together, were poised not just for personal reconciliation, but for a mission that would echo through history, sowing seeds of hope and healing destined to flourish in the hearts of nations. And as they embraced, a sudden hush descended, echoing the profound truth so often lost, for in the economy of God, the past is but a shadow, yet the future shines bright with promise. Before the dawn's full light broke, a divine whisper echoed in the hearts of both men. What if your union is but the beginning of a greater plan? What will be birthed from your reconciled spirits shall bless all families of the earth. As the sun rose upon the horizon, illuminating the land with its golden light, Ishmael and Isaac stood anew, their hearts intertwined by the grace they had discovered in one another. With the remnants of the feast still lingering in the air, the brothers gazed at the path before them, a road of promise yet untraveled. Ishmael turned to Isaac, his brow furrowed with the weight of unspoken thoughts. Do you sense it, brother? The presence of God is near, prompting us to step forth into the next chapter of our shared story. The air shimmered with divine expectation, resonating with the sacred tones of God's purpose ringing in their souls. Isaac nodded, his countenance reflecting the light of the dawn. Indeed, this day is different. The Lord has spoken, and I believe our meeting here is not merely for our reconciliation but for the fulfilling of His greater purpose, a role for us in the unfolding tapestry of His people. As the brothers stepped forth, the memories of their discord began to recede like shadows chased away by the sun. They walked side by side, their steps gathering the warmth of unity. Together we shall forge a legacy that honors our father Abraham, Ishmael said, his voice firm. Let us offer a sacrifice, a testament of our renewed covenant with God. Thus, they walked to the altar where their father once worshipped, a stone monument to faith, where many prayers had risen like sweet incense to heaven. Upon their arrival, they laid their hands upon the stones and offered heartfelt prayer. God of Abraham, we stand together, a testimony of your mercy. Unite our hearts and our descendants under your divine purpose. Then, lo! The earth trembled, and a voice echoed in the silence, your offering is accepted. From your union, nations shall rise, and through the threads of your lineage, the promise of blessing shall flow to every corner of the earth. Caught in awe, Isaac and Ishmael fell to their knees. We shall be the conduits of your promise, Isaac whispered, tears of gratitude streaming down his face. But how shall we carry out this calling? Ishmael, burning with the fire of the Spirit's revelation, answered resolutely, let us speak to our families, unite our tribes. The world must know that the God of Abraham reigns over both Israel and Ishmael's descendants. We are children of the covenant, our paths have converged for a divine reason. As they returned to their tent, they found their families gathered, the children playing and the women preparing for the day ahead. A sense of peace enveloped the atmosphere, vibrant and filled with spirit. The brothers exchanged glances, knowing an unbreakable bond had formed. This day, they announced to their families, is a day of new beginnings. We are called to embrace our heritage and to work towards a future steeped in God's promise. But as they spoke, a rustle came from the edge of the encampment. A shepherd approached, breathless and eyes wide.
Great men! I have seen a vision.
A messenger of the Lord appeared to me, a path not yet forged, one that speaks of a coming nation, whose legacy will transcend borders. Isaac and Ishmael shared a glance, a spark igniting hope within them.
What is this message?
They urged, drawn into the unfolding mystery. The shepherd, still trembling from the experience, replied, to you both, the Lord has declared, a divine prophecy shall spring forth where the bloodlines converge. Mark the day of destiny, for through you, the nations shall be blessed. And in that moment, a new chapter unfurled before the brothers, a glorious tale woven into the heart of humanity. Yet, they felt the shadow of the unknown loom before them, a potent reminder of the path still to be traveled. As they contemplated this profound calling, their hearts thrummed with anticipation for the greater plan, unaware that their journey was only beginning, a journey that would change the course of generations, paving the way for the fulfillment of promises made long ago. As the sun lingered high in the heavens, casting long shadows across the encampment, the hearts of Isaac and Ishmael stirred with divine purpose. The shepherd, their promised liaison from heaven, stood still, his eyes alight with the fire of revelation.
You must gather your kin and prepare for what is to come.
For the Lord has not merely spoken of blessing, he has stirred a call to leadership, to shepherd a great multitude towards his everlasting promise.
Isaac glanced toward Ishmael, a newfound understanding dawning upon him. We must not delay.
As the Lord spoke in our hearts, the time for action is now.
Let us invite our families, let them hear the word of God as we have heard it.
With urgency marking their steps, brothers turned towards their respective tents. They summoned their families, hearts beating in unison with the weight of what lay ahead. The flurry of activity soon drew forth the children with wide eyes, the elders with furrowed brows, and the women with prayerful hearts.
Come! Come! Gather around! Ishmael called, his voice resonating with authority. For the God of our father Abraham has spoken, and we have seen his glory.
As the last of the family members assembled, an expectant hush fell upon the group. Isaac stood tall, the echo of their recent encounter still ringing in his spirit. Beloved families of both lineages, the Lord has united us as one, he proclaimed. He has declared through his messenger that we are called to forge a new destiny, not as separated offspring, but as one people under God's covenant.
A wave of murmurs spread through the crowd, yet confusion danced in some hearts. An elder from Ishmael's tribe, a wise man named Nebaioth, rose slowly. What shall we do, Isaac? The path is clouded, and uncertainty lingers. How can we embark on such a journey when the world appears vast and hostile? With the solemnity of a prophet, Isaac's gaze pierced the gathered assembly.
The Lord who called our grandfather, Abraham, to a land unknown is the same God who guides our steps today. He has ignited in us a fire to bring forth his message of hope and redemption. We shall not be lost, for he will lead us with his mighty hand. A collective breath swept through the crowd.
Ishmael stepped forward, emboldened by conviction.
We are the vessels of God's promise. Let us build upon the altar our Father erected, where sacrifice and prayer once ascended like incense. Let us declare our united faith to walk forward in the boldness of his calling. With hearts renewed, they approached the stone altar, each family laying hands upon it in a circle, a symbol of their rare union. They lifted their voices, a chorus woven together in fervent prayer. God of mercy, unite our hearts and our tribes. Lead us into the fulfillment of your promises, for we stand ready to follow wherever you may guide. As the last echoes of their prayers faded into the heavens, the ground trembled once more, and a flash of radiant light broke forth from the altar. A voice thundered through the gathering, "You shall be a light unto the nations, from your union shall flow rivers of living water, and the promise renewed to Abraham shall bloom once more." As the families trembled in awe, Isaac and Ishmael stood side by side, resolve blooming within them as the people began to rise with hope. They grasped the hands of those around them, an unbreakable bond formed under the weight of divine revelation, but there remained within them an unvoiced question and uncharted territory lingering in the depth of their spirits. What trials must we face? What challenges loom on this path laid before us? The horizon still whispered of mysteries, and the union was but the beginning of a grander design. As evening fell and stars appeared, glimmers of destiny danced in the night sky. The brothers knew that they were chosen not merely for one day's calling but for generations to come. And thus their hearts turned in anticipation, for God's sovereign plan was unfolding like the pages of a great scroll, their legacy intertwined in the annals of divine history, heralding the arrival of a time when the promise would reach its ultimate climax. Yet, as they settled to rest under the heavens, a shadow of uncertainty loomed, fading into the silence of night. What role shall we truly bear, and how shall our descendants fulfill God's calling? The answers remained cloaked in the divine mystery, waiting for the dawn to reveal the next chapter of His wondrous design. As dawn broke over the encampment, the first rays of sunlight illuminated the faces of Isaac and Ishmael, infusing their hearts with renewed vigor. They stirred from their slumber, remembering the great vision bestowed upon them. Together, they gathered their people once more, their spirits buoyed by the divine call echoing in their hearts. "Prepare your hearts, dear kin," Isaac addressed the assembly, his voice steady yet exuding fervor. "For today is a day of covenant remembrance. The Lord has chosen us for a purpose beyond ourselves. We stand on the threshold of His mighty work." "I," Ishmael affirmed, rising beside his brother with an earnest countenance. "The Lord who parted the sea and fed our forefathers with manna in the wilderness still walks among us. Let each heart be prepared to embrace the unknown that awaits." With eyes brightened by hope, the families began to share the provisions they would need for their journey. They gathered dates and grains, preparing skins of water for the road ahead. The children's laughter mingled with the whispers of prayer, a symphony of faith resonating as the people united under the banner of their forefathers' promise. As the families moved under the vast sky, Isaac and Ishmael led at the front, casting glances backward to see their kin following with resolve. However, a notable shadow clung to the edge of the mirage along the horizon, an uncertainty that loomed amidst their faith. In the distance, a sandstorm gathered, its fierce winds spiraling like an adversary against the will of God's people. An elder stepped forward with a tremble in his voice. "Oh brothers, what if the tempest invades us? What shall we do?" Isaac, fortified by the spirit of prophecy, turned to him with a reassuring countenance. "Do not yield to fear. The Lord has gone before us, just as He led our father Abraham through trials. The storm may roar, but the promise of deliverance shrouds us." As the winds began to howl, the people encircled Isaac and Ishmael, their prayer rising as incense before the Almighty. "Lord of hosts, calm the winds and speak peace to our fears. We trust in your sovereign hand to guide us, as you did our ancestors." Suddenly, the very ground shook once again, and the voice resonated from within the storm, "Behold, strength shall arise from the storm. For I am with you, do not be dismayed. Out of this journey shall the nations be reborn, and through you shall my covenant be known." The winds obeyed the decree, parting to reveal a path of promise ahead, away through the tumultuous sands, leading them toward a land flowing with milk and honey. The families gasped in awe, gazing upon the miraculous provision unfolding before them. As they began to walk forth, the spirit of unity enveloped them. No longer were they merely the descendants of Isaac and Ishmael, but a newly forged family in faith, eager to witness the unfolding of God's divine tapestry. They forged onward, encouraged by what God had revealed and emboldened by what was yet to come. Yet still, questions lingered in the hearts of the leaders. What lies beyond this storm? Will we be prepared for the trials that await? As the winds of change rustled their garments, all remained cognizant that they had only begun to brush the surface of God's intricate plan, and as they pressed on, the sky glimmered with newfound hope, each step enveloped in prayer, waiting for clarity to emerge from the divinely orchestrated mystery yet to be unveiled. The harvest of nations awaited them, and they sensed that the journey was only beginning. The promise of Israel's future was entwined within their calling, a divine destiny rolling forth like the waves of the sea, unfolding eternally. As the sun dipped beyond the horizon, casting twilight hues across the canvas of the heavens, Ishmael stood alongside Isaac, the profound weight of their quest etched on their hearts. After years of division and hardship, the brothers had forged a bond cast in humility, love, and God's glorious purpose. The moment was ripe with divine potential, as they sought to lead their united families into the fulfillment of God's promise, a promise that echoed through the ages.
Brother, Ishmael spoke with conviction. Today, we stand not merely as descendants of Abraham, but as a testament of his faithfulness to all mankind.
We shall carry forth the legacy, reaching past the shadows that once divided us. Isaac nodded, the flicker of candlelight illuminating the resolve in his eyes. Indeed, the path has been long and arduous, yet the hand of the Almighty has guided us.
Let us reflect on the path before us and seek his counsel even now.
And so they knelt together upon the sacred ground, the altar of their forefather trembling beneath the weight of their united prayers. O God of Abraham, Isaac, and Ishmael, who sees our pain and hears our cries, guide us with your wisdom. Together, we stand ready to fulfill the covenantal promises bestowed upon our Father.
As their prayers ascended, the heavens broke open, a divine light illuminating the darkness.
The voice of the Lord resounded like thunder over the hills, "Fear not.
You have come unto me, and I will make of you a great nation. Through your union, triumph shall emerge."
The response reverberated throughout the land, filling their spirits with strength and hope as the families gathered around, awaiting the unfolding of God's miraculous plan. Each heart beat with anticipation. The journey had just begun. In the days that followed, the brothers steered their kin with wisdom and grace, entering lands where the roots of their forefathers once thrived. They ministered alongside one another, sharing stories of hope and endurance, nurturing a bond that drew generations closer. Soon, the echoes of unity began to reverberate across the hills, resonating within hearts both young and old. The families of both Isaac and Ishmael labored together, planting crops upon the fertile soil, the aroma of harvest mingling with the scent of prayer. Their children played and grew, learning the ways of their ancestors, fostering stories of faith and reconciliation to pass on through the years. Yet, as darkness often lingers before dawn, trials soon emerged on the horizon. Nations surrounding them rose, harboring grievances, fearing the strength of their united lineage. They held fast to promises of old, feeling the echo of divisions past, tugging at the edges of their hearts. During a fateful evening, as the families gathered for a meal, a mighty leader from a neighboring kingdom approached, his eyes sharp and discerning.
Who dares to unite these two bloodlines? Is it not written that envy and rivalry shall mark your fates?
The atmosphere tensed, whispers of uncertainty swirled like dust in the twilight. With a calm resolve, Ishmael stepped forth, his voice steady. We are not fools to repeat the mistakes of our forebears. Under the banner of unity, we carry the ignorance of the past towards the wisdom of the future. We seek no conquest, but fellowship under the great God who has revealed himself to us. Isaac added, together, we aim not for division, but to foster understanding. Our legacy is one of promise, let not the jealousy of the past dictate our future. The resolve in their words ignited a fire within their people, a reminder that they were birthed from the same covenant of compassion. The foreign leader, seeing the strength in their conviction, found himself moved by a spirit of humility. Perhaps it is not I who must judge, but rather seek the counsel of those united by faith.
Shall we not join in a pact of promise of peace made before men and God?
And so the brothers embraced the foreign leader, their hands joined in a pact that would echo across nations. The alliance not only solidified their strength but also marked a monumental shift, turning foes into allies, curiosity into compassion. As the twilight settled fully, now holding promises yet unspoken, Isaac and Ishmael gazed at one another, recognizing the lengths God had brought them together. Each moment resonated with affirmation that their union, birthed from hardship, was now a beacon of hope. Let us never forget the power of love over hate, of unity over division, Ishmael said, his heart brimming with gratefulness. For our legacy is more than blood, it is a calling to be light in the darkness. With renewed purpose, the two brothers united their families, extending a message of hope and healing to all nations. Each spoke to their people, allowing the whispers of divine promise to shape every encounter. The testament of their reconciliation became a legendary narrative, now intertwined as a legacy destined for history forever, drawing souls towards the God who sees and hears. Thus, the tapestry of destiny unfurled, the story of Ishmael and Isaac bridging generations and fates, casting a radiant light into the hearts of the needy and weary. The mountaintops bore witness as a new covenant flourished, one steeped in love and kinship, holding forth promise, for in divine union, nations are called, and generations blessed. And so it was written, the beautiful truth of God's sovereign plan fulfilled, and the world witnessed that no matter how steep the journey, redemption awaits those who walk humbly in his light. Beloved, we invite you to be part of this journey. Subscribe immediately to this channel so you don't miss out on powerful biblical stories that can change lives. Leave a like now. Let's help spread God's word through the algorithm, casting the seeds of truth far and wide. We want to hear your reflections. Comment below on how this incredible tale has impacted your faith journey. And don't wait even one more second. Share this video with at least 5 friends who need to hear these life-changing truths. Let us stand united in faith, for together we flourish under God's ever-watchful gaze.